Okay, we got to get into capturing the rod. So this is a gun held high in the front now. Like hold to your chest or whatever, right? So the first thing we got to do is not get shot, right? The hands definitely move first. You can't go, yeah, right? You've already been shot, right? And by the way, the little suction cup dart guns are great for this. That's how I went up to the belt. We just the moment the guy moves, then you know you've been shot on. That works really good, right? So we should actually get a few of those. But clearly, when the guy's in front of me, first of all, you might, you're not going to go like this. And so a guy has a gun, you're probably going to be like, whoa, 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 right? What I would suggest is take your left hand, bring it a little lower already, right? Dude, and that way you can have that very, very quick. Even though it's your right hand that is really the fastest and most powerful here, but you want to get your left hand in there, right? So one, right? And then this is where, again, you need to get a sense of realism, which only comes from being the attacker. In other words, what's the guy going to do? And how fast is he going to do something, right? So the opponent will have an instant reaction. Right? That's why if you grab my shoulder, for example, like obscure wing, right? You see people who are kind of setting up, I would never get that far. The moment I twitch my muscle, he is, I don't know if you notice it's fine, but this is, even a white belt will do that. I go here and he's already reacting. Right? That's why it's absolutely essential that your movements are coming from point of origin, right to it, like the arm or the hand moves first, right? Because you cannot assume that your opponent will react slowly. If he does, you're fighting somebody who doesn't even have, proper reactions. And you're probably fighting some kind of a patient that has on Valium or something, or drunk, right? Drunk people are different. Drunk people will take longer to react, right? So, I'm here. What do you think is going to do the moment I do this? Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen, right? Nobody's going to keep the gun out there when I see somebody's going to, touch it. He's immediately going to retract that arm. Anybody, or you might even back up, right? So if that happens, right, well, I like it because that's where the eye strike comes in. That's exactly what this technique takes advantage of. Mr. Parker's genius continues to get underestimated. He's putting these reactions into every technique. So he's there, right here, right? I'm going this way, and I'm going to poke him right in the eye. What is this arm going to do when I poke him in the eye? Yes, exactly, which is what I want, right? Right here. Actually, I should have had my hand right here, right? So let's watch this slowly. So you can basically the natural reaction of what the human body and the muscles of the human body will do feeds the action of capturing the rod. So right here, I'm going this way. I'm going purposely a little slow. I'm not going full explosive speed, but bam, right here, right, because I want to demonstrate, right? That's the other thing people misunderstand. Mr. Parker, could you imagine Mr. Parker going, for example, to Europe, or going to the East Coast and saying, let me teach you how to capture in the storm, bam, bam, in that speed? Nobody would follow along. So he went nice and slow and soft, and went as 1, 2, 3, right, and that kind of stuff, right? So people were able to follow along. He never had the opportunity to tighten up people's timing because they were still trying to just remember the technique, right? And it's like, well, he would have skipped gradients. That would have been horrible. Right? So we've got 1 and 2 right here, right? As he then immediately reacts, I'm going to poke him in the eye. I'm going to work on securing the hold on this gun right here. I've got 2 hands to do it with. And all I want to do now is this number. Oh, yeah, okay.
That finger would be
He's smart enough not to put his finger in the trigger guard because it would be broken right about here, right?
Yeah.
Right? And so, if you watch this again, so from the first position we went right to here. All right, let's go super slow. You haven't even reacted now. So now we're going like Matrix kind of a thing right here. So 1, he starts reacting. 2, right? I grab this. His hand was coming back anyhow. I secured with both hands. Bring it over to this side. Snap his finger as I'm now going to pull on the gun to get it out of his hand as I'm kicking him right in the groin. Bam! Right? From here, I'm going to hit him up, usually to the right side of his face with the butt of the gun. Right? It's really a lifting strike, so you're not just going to come from the elbow right here. Bam! Right? And then don't shoot yourself in the head while you're doing it, right? Shoot your buddy in the head. So from here, that's, by the way, another environmental consideration. What if there aren't people behind you? So yeah, those don't go, ha, I got him, right? Oh yeah, well I shot the Leo. Huh? But I survived. Right? So go here, boom, point most likely upwards. Now I'm not going to let you get your hands that far. From here, boom, bam, right there. And then coming across, assuming you part right here, and this is going to become a looping strike right here. That means my elbow is now going to become very active. My elbow was not that active at first. I had to go 1, right? I had to keep my elbow tucked right here. 1, 2, and now I'm going to flip my elbow like boom as I'm stepping back. That's basically it. Now you're just going to do this number and get yourself arrested for looking like you're like shooting somebody. All right, so I'm going to put that down. Yes, sir. You don't have to be severe. Usually I wouldn't go and strike, upward and keep my elbow anchored like this. I would want to turn this because that would be much faster and much more powerful. But that's not what we're doing here, right? We're actually going to hit, and we're going to aim that barrel into a place where it's safe, and then hit right back. We're using the force and the weight. If you take a gun, this is like a hammer. Guns are heavy. That's why somebody said that somebody was pistol whipped, right? That's what that is, right? That's like taking a rock and smacking somebody over the head with a rock. It's extremely damaging, right? So anyhow, 1, 2, just reverse that. It's a lifting motion right here. So it's not just from the elbow. It's a lifting motion and bring them back down. And then it's a looping motion. Meaning now the elbow gets engaged for the outward motion right here. Keep that, again, not this way, but pointing away from you, right? And that step helps step you back before you then re-grab it. But ideally this comes from under, right? And obviously you move right from the point of origin where you have to come to here. He pulls back his gun and he's going to get poked right in the eye, right? And then right here what I need to do is I need to get control over this arm. What I want to do essentially, turn around a little bit. Yes. I want to be on this side with my left hand. So it's basically this number in relation to his hand. Okay. Now I'm going to grab most of the gun with my right as much as possible. I was talking about that the other day, that I want to grab sort of the center of the gun because I want to have the mass of the gun under control. I want to have that in my hand. So with my left hand, then if I come from this angle, hold the gun right from here, notice my left hand stays right here, almost like paralleling the gun, because that's why I'm going to have my leverage in order to put you in a really bad position. If you look at his hand, can you see what's going on? Come a little closer, all right? So he was looking good here. As far as the grab is concerned, and still having a tight grab on the gun, he was looking good here. Probably even here. He's not going to just lose that, right? He knows it's going. He can feel getting poked in the eye. But most people, when they fight for the gun, they're just so totally focused on the gun. So he's still got a good hold of it. His elbow's anchored. As far as he's concerned, he feels he has a better hold of it. Now, if he goes and I'm poking him in the eye, if he resists against my hand, then he's actually giving up some of that control. But all I need to do is I'm going to kind of like windshield wiper right here where the grip is. Right, that way I have immediate control of it. And I want to have my elbows anchored. And now I'm going to simply use the gun as the lever in order to control his wrists. So I'm going to like move up a little bit with my left hand so you can see what happens to his hand. I'm just going to move the gun. That's what is happening to his hand. And he took his finger out of the trigger guard already, so if not, right now you already would be breaking his finger most likely. So I was here, right, and I'm going to go to this and right here, and that's what I'm going to pull right in opposition to the kick, right? And then he comes into this strike right here, which is an upward but slightly outward because I have to point the barrel away from me, and then right from there come across like so, and then we're going to loop the elbow for the last move and step back with that one. All right, so let's try that. I hope you got all that. This is a quick review because we spent the whole class on it. If you were not there, you just have to really pay attention. Step in, 1. Keep your elbows anchored already. Expect the pull, poke them in the eye. All right, and now take your left hand and essentially you should be able to do that without looking. All right, your left wrist is touching your right wrist, so that means you can find your own palm or you can find the gun, his hand. All right, so you do that, keep it anchored, and since you're trying to turn the gun and the hand, think of pushing with your left. Let me have you one more time.
Yes, sir.
That's where your leverage is at. Fine, right here, and here, I can push with this. If my left elbow is anchored, right, I want to cause this to happen right here. All right, so I'm going to pull in with my right and push with my left to this. All right, so I can slide a little bit towards the wrist here, but I need to still have the gun itself, right? But that's, there's an opposing force here, and the elbow is anchored, and you push with your left hand right here. All right, and that, of course, helps you then to this arm hand. All right, so let's do this together.
Capturing the rod?
Capturing the rod. Second round. Capturing the rod. Those of you who have long form 6, this is long form 6, right?
Yes, sir.
So, left hand, basically like a waiter's hand. Here's the other thing. People think, oh, I don't know if I'm good with the blocks against knives and guns. They are completely different. A guy having a knife is going to move very rapidly, but his arm is going to probably retract it or redirect it. Nobody does that with a gun. They're holding it right up against you. So they came into your space, that gun was right here, bam, like this. You don't have to worry about meeting the action, right? You just have to worry about being fast enough, right? But it's not an accelerated move coming at you. It is a stationary position of your opponent. So you're going to immediately be able to touch it. You're not going to reach way out. Right? If the guy's that far away, you might not want to do this thing, you're going to get shot, right? So this guy's, you have to, most people with a gun, they threaten you to stick that gun right up against you, right? So, alright, we'll worry later about what if he's further away. Defined about these with that. But anyhow, so one, and immediately like an inward block turning into a grab right over the top, right? So it's a waiter's hand with the left, right? And then what looks just like a reach over to hit the gun, but your forearm clearly is a block that then, once you hit, your hand wraps around to grab the top of the gun, usually the area where the hammer is, right? Right, that makes sense? Where the hammer is, right? The guy has a gun, the hammer like that, they'll go, right? So anyhow, one, and you're immediately going to get a pull from your opponent. The opponent is going to pull his arm back in all likelihood. Now, there's other things that your opponent could do if you got to work out this what if. But right now it's going to be one, and then as he pulls, bam, he's doing you a favor. All you got to do is keep your hands where they're at, keep your elbows anchored, and just poke him right in the eye. Alright? The moment that happens, his arm is likely to move up even more, right? Or move towards you a little bit, because he could react by, if I'm holding the gun, and the guy grabs it, I'm probably going to instinctively pull my elbow in. As he pokes me in the eye, I might go back, or I might try to push towards his head a little bit. But I'm probably not going to drop my hand down. That is highly unlikely. Right? Yeah, up or forward most likely. That's what I got to worry about. So I went one, poke him in the eye, and then immediately have your left hand. It's almost like you're going to put your hands together like so. Like, like you're clapping with fingers bent. All right? So kind of have you one more time. Grab the gun. The more you look at what the attack is like, the easier it is to remember all of this. So I'm here, right, and then immediately boom to this side, and then my right hand is already in pretty good position. My left hand is just going to flip around. That's all it's going to do. I want to get a little bit of that barrel if possible because it helps me with leverage, right? And I actually should keep my right elbow anchored more. That's a bad habit of mine, that I sometimes keep my elbow out a little bit too much. Right here, I got to keep my elbow anchored because he's pretty strong, right? You're fighting with strength. So I'm going to keep this anchored against my rib cage, right? As I'm now going to go to here. And my body's doing all the work for me. I don't have to work very hard. And then, of course, I got to make sure my right hand is in good position so I can go and pull this out. Try that again.
So similar to the sparring twig.
Yeah, sparring twig, we definitely are going to slip on the outside of the arm though, right? Sparring twig, I'm going to be here, put pressure on the elbow. I'm not going to try to do that here because, unless you straighten your arm. If you straighten your arm, I would go to that immediately, right? But assuming that you did not straighten your arm and I'm here, right? I'm going like right here, my elbow's in the inside of your arm. Turn around. All right, my elbow's in the inside of your arm because it wasn't the inside of the arm here. I poke, how would I get to the outside of your arm? I'm not. I'm going to stay on the inside of your arm. Now it's going to help me protect against that hand. If you mess with me, I'm going to like ankles, I'm going to drop my head a little bit. But I want to anchor my right arm particularly against my ribs, and then I'm just going to make my body.
Oh yeah! Okay.
Okay.
Like my legs.
A similar motion where you really just put on either inside or outside the arm.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure you're
So try it again. So look up for just a moment because I wanted one thing because when you ended up on the outside of the person's arm, you should have never been there. So come back over here. So if I'm here, one, and then right, I'm not going over this way. I could, but it's not what the technique usually does, right? Of course, there's a what if we will have to work. Okay, what if he actually pushes his gun forward? Wait, then it might become spiraling twig. That was the pressure on the elbow right there. But that's not the ideal phase of this technique at all. Right, so again, it's there. I'm here. Right, my elbow is in the sternum. That's the first place it goes to. Like we're going to go slow motion here.
Yes, sir.
Right? So 1, 2, he pulls in. So my elbow, bam, hits him right in the sternum as I'm poking him in the eye. My elbow is not on the outside of his arm. I'm now only worried about getting hold of this gun, and since my elbow is right here, free to move up and down, I'm going to anchor that elbow against my rib, and that gives me an enormous amount of strength to now use my body rotation as I step back to, you know, have more leverage than you have. And I've got two arms doing it, but both of my elbows anchored against your one arm with your elbow not anchored as well. Right? That gives me an incredible advantage. It's at least a 4-to-1 advantage right there if we're equally strong. All right? Do it a few more times.
Yes, sir.
If I only have a small portion of the gun and you have the bulk of it in your hand, you have an advantage there. I want to make sure I have that center of that gun, the main weight, the dead weight of where that center of the gun is. I gotta get that. All right, so far this was attached, it would be here. As you now start grabbing the gun better, you're going to start turning your shoulders a little bit with your right elbow anchored. This goes to about here. That's all you need to turn this. Don't let this turn more. All you're going to do now is turn the gun that way, aim the barrel at him as you step back. Right there. All right? That's a really good visual reference because that way when you're by yourself, you can picture all that. You can be by yourself going, all right, I can see. You can hold the gun yourself. All right, if you're at home or something like that, if you have a gun, right? Something like this, right? You can go, all right, I can see this. All right, hard to visualize where he's at. Now, how exactly do I move the gun? Well, do what I just did. Imagine this grip. Basically, you just imagine the grip is 2 feet long, and you're starting this motion right here because you want to bring this away where you're strong, all right? And once I got this, I'm going to just continue to turn on this axis. Nothing else needs to be done. Right here. Right here. That's important to understand because it's going to go against the grain of your brain a little bit because what do you think my hand wants to do without the gun? What would you want to do if you just had the hand? You would want to twist this further. Oh, yes. Right? You would not just go here and then go down. So your spiraling twig has conditioned you to make this like a right turn with a small steering wheel. Like a Cheech and Chong. The whole joke. I'm not going to repeat that joke. But anyhow, right? So here I'm only going to go this far until this angle right here was just the grip of the gun goes from about, I don't know, if I have a clock in front of me this way, from about 4 o'clock, right, up to about 11 or 12 o'clock, and that's where I'm going to keep that. And then I'm just going to bring this back this way because that way I'm really injuring his finger, ruining his grab, keeping the barrel pointed away from me. Everything is in place, and I can do that with my elbows anchored. So you're twisting the arm much less than what you would do in spiraling twig. Can you have the gun hold on that? Had you done the, don't even worry about it, just move back a moment. Let me have the orange one because it shows more in video. In spiraling twig, you would have turned it this far. Good luck taking the gun out of that. Now, you have to use a completely different technique to do that. So here, we're only turning the guy's arm about this much. And then we're doing this to him. And then we're doing this to him. All right, and then we're doing that to him. All right, so when you're stuck, if you have a partner, hold the gun in your hand. Going, okay, if this is what happened, I can see how I pull it back. I would see how I might move up or higher even. Then, if he grabs me, the worst thing that could happen, especially if I have my finger in the trigger guard, the worst thing that could happen is that he turns it this way, then just simply stops this circle, right? Turns about this far, that's about a quarter of a turn. Your opponent's hand is going to turn about a quarter of a turn counterclockwise. You're done with that rotation. Now it's this rotation, right here. All right, you can reenact that on your own. And it's actually going to make your visualization extremely realistic. Who's this? Who is working with this? All right, try it a few more times. We're just about out of time, and I want to make sure you can really let all of that sink in.
Yes, sir.